During World War II, Lieutenant Colonel Bob Vaucher flew 117 combat missions. At the end of the war, he led the largest air armada in history. 67 years later, the 93-year-old American hero was honored by the crew of Fifi, the only B-29 that still takes to the skies. This is Bob's story.
Okay, I need 2 more volunteers on the end. Come on, Michelle. Gary, you stand over here. Hey, come on up here. You're right there. He's the youngest B-29 aircraft commander since the Korean conflict. Are you going to take a flip-flopping today?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, pull your dog tags out. I don't know if you know this. These are his dad's dog tags. He was a B-29 tail gunner in World War II. Wow. And then you're going to introduce Mr. Vaucher.
Okay, so Bob, step up this way. So this man actually took delivery of the first B-29 the Air Force accepted from Boeing. He was the first man to have 1,000 hours in B-29s. And then, if I'm correct, you also led the flight of B-29s over the Missouri when they were signing the peace treaty. Is that right?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'll let you say a few words.
Tell him how many hours you had when you picked it up.
1,500 in this.
No, but when you picked up your first B-29.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
There you go.
Get back down there, David.
And how old were you? How old were you?
21.
There you go.
But more important, I had 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I was the first 1 hour and 45 minutes. He said, "You better fly it, Bob. I've got 30 minutes more time than I have."
How was the landing?
The takeoff was what we did. I landed all right. We almost did take it off right. It wasn't rigged very well. Whoever testified, and it required a lot of adjustment in the tabs. I took off, and it's with all the rudder I could put on it just went off at an angle like this. I got my captain co-pilot on. We got it straightened out. We missed a great big crane that was sitting off the end. Right.
Oh, Lord. Holy cow.
But we had been, I had been sent to B-26 school in Del Rio, Texas, because they thought this flew a lot like the B-26. It had a landing characteristic, like if you pull the power on a B-26, it went down like that. This did the same thing. That was the only similarity.
Yeah, our co-pilots find that out quite often. We know that characteristic all too well. Well, thank you, Bob. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Well, I was a colonel, but I was only 23 years old.
23 years old, you were a lieutenant colonel?
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's why I probably led the flight over the battleship Missouri. On that particular flight, I got it by being at the right place at the right time, not because of anything else. General Ramey was supposed to fly it, and they decided he ought to be on the crew on board the ship. So he had picked me to be his pilot when he was going to lead it. And the day before the Missouri signing, they called him to Tokyo to be on board for the ceremony. So he said, "Vaucher, you're going to take the command of the flight because you know all the details of it." And the main detail was MacArthur was supposed to put his signature on the peace treaty at 9:17 in the morning, and that's when I was supposed to lead 500 airplanes over. We hit it right on the head, 9:17, but General Ramey said, "Vaucher, this is one target you better not miss." And we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many airplanes actually were overhead that day?
Well, it was about 500 B-29 and about 150 Navy planes. There were a couple of aircraft carriers in Tokyo Bay at the time, and they joined us. They flew cover over the top.
Such precision. All them planes. I have pictures my dad took from the tail of the formation. Just think, wow, how do they keep themselves in line? I mean, that's long before computers and all that kind of garbage.
How long were they flying over the target for?
I'd say that the trail was probably 20 miles long.
Wow.
Because we had LeMay, who was our commanding general, ordered all the units. There's 3 wings and 3 squadrons per group, and he ordered that all airworthy airplanes should come on this. So it was about 18 airplanes. MacArthur, when MacArthur signed the treaty after the Japanese, if you've all seen that movie, he signed it, and he looked up to his aide and he said, "Where are the airplanes?" Just about that time we started coming.
So he's your co-pilot today, right?
Yeah. He's gonna actually make sure we do it right, for sure.
Pardon?
You're gonna make sure we do it right. We fly
Oh,
this thing correctly.
you better do it right.
No pressure.
You want to continue being commander of this.
Whoa! I love it. I love
We
it.
might have to take over. Boy, it's not looking so good.
Just recently over the internet came a picture that somebody had of a B-29 with the nose wheel collapsed, and it's sitting up like this, just over the end of the runway, just short of a gully. That was my airplane. The nose wheel collapsed.
You weren't flying it, were you?
I was. Well, it's a long story.
What he's trying to say is
I ended up flying it. I ended up flying it because we were in trouble. Afterwards, there's always a accident investigation. They found out that he was only turning the cap that covered in the floor, and it had been loose, so he had cracked it, and he thought that and he got to the end of what he could, you could put the cap in it like this and turn it like this. He thought it was locked, and it turned out that he didn't ever get the crack down in there and start cranking the right place.
Let me ask you this.
That was the end of his.
You have to tell us about how, before every flight, you line off all the crew and do a crew inspection. I think we need to do a crew inspection right now, don't you, Dave?
I think so.
All right.
Okay.
Mr. Vaucher here is going to conduct this.
So
So
we have this on
It's all loaded, ready to go.
Okay. All right. Do we have a flight engineer today?
Yes, we do.
we do. Flight engineer.
Tidies.
How are the engines? Okay. Got everything in order.
We're ready to get.
Ready to go. All right. We got a tail gunner, we got a bombardier, and we got a top gunner. You don't have a full crew. We'll do it anyway.
We improvise and overcome.
Now, would you say though that the pilots are the ones that get all the glory? Is that right? But the flight engineer gets all the work.
Yeah. Well, that's about right.
Well, do you mind if I give everybody a quick safety briefing? Then we're going to go
ahead.
fly this thing.
Your turn.
For you guys that are sitting in the front compartment, real quickly here, this is the way you're going to get in and out, right through this crew hatch, right? Of course, they didn't have ladders like that back then, did they?
No.
You did this.
Uh-huh.
Swung up.
Anyway, these
Right
engines
there.
are much more reliable as compared to the older B-29 engines. So, you were ready if that motor just made a tick. You were ready to handle the situation, weren't you?
It's almost had that engine, number 3, burn off the airplane. Wow. We got the fire out.
That's pretty serious.
Yeah, we were very, very lucky. The flight engineer saved us on that one. When that engine blew, the crack cage blew, it sounded like we were hit by an anti-aircraft. I mean, the whole airplane shook. The flight engineer hit we had 4 fire extinguishers at that time in each engine. He hit all 4 fire extinguishers at one time. So that was not the procedure. The procedure was to hit two, and if that didn't put the fire out, then hit the other two. We found out later that was still, he did the whole thing at once. He did it out of procedure and cut the fire out. Well, we made it another 1,000 miles on 3 engines.
Wow. 1,000 miles on 3 engines.
That was the longest mission in World War II, 4,000 miles. Round trip, 4,000.
Did you ever fly it on 2 engines?
Hey,